All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott, formerly of Rankin Technical College, as part of my YouTube channel, JPS-Jeff Teaches Programming, and in particular, the YouTube playlist, Jeff Teaches Programming-Python. I've been doing a series of Python programs, and now I'm going, and I have created this. Create a Python object-oriented program representing a payroll application for a company. Each employee has the following type of data. So all employees have a number, a first name, a last name, and a gross pay. But the company has four types of employees: an hourly worker who has an hours worked between 0 and 84 and an hourly rate between 0 and 99. If the hourly worker has no overtime, their gross pay is the hours worked times the hourly rate. If they do have overtime, you add in the overtime at a rate of 1.5. Second, we have piece worker employees, and there are two pieces of data in here that are significant just to this class. And now that I'm looking at that, that should be a capital W. So there's a number of pieces. That's the number of pieces they make an hour. That's between 0 and 100. And a price per piece, which is between 1 cent per piece and $1 per piece. Their gross pay, as you can see, is the number of pieces times the price per piece. There are salaried workers who have a range of $0 through $10,000 a week. Their gross pay is just their salary. And there's a commission worker who has sales that range from $1, and really we could have said 0 in here, I guess. Maybe I did, I'll have to check, through $1 million. And a commission rate that varies between 1% and 25%. Their gross pay is their sales times their commission rate. What was used in here was a big Python list. All right. And I did keep track of the total hourly worker gross pay, total piece worker gross pay, total salary worker gross pay, and total commission worker gross pay. So employee is the base or parents class. And again, remember that employee has four pieces of data: an employee number, a first name, a last name, and a gross pay. That's the superclass that everything else inherits from. It also has an abstract method called calculate gross pay. Hourly worker, piece worker, salaried worker, and commission worker are the subclasses of employee. They each have their own way to implement calculate gross pay. And then there's a payroll class that tracks the total gross pay for each type and processes the list, calculates the gross pay, and updates the totals. All right. So let's see. So what I did in here was in main, I created this list and I brought in, as you can see, hourly worker, piece worker, salaried worker, and commission worker. HW for hourly worker, PW for piece worker, SW for salaried worker, CW for commission worker, and pay for payroll. And then I instantiated here 25 different employee objects, 7 hourly worker objects, 6 piece worker objects, 6 salaried worker objects, and 6 commission worker objects. Then we create a new payroll object. We call process payroll, passing it that list of employees we just had, and we display the totals. Okay, so that's what we did in main. Looking at each one of these in turn, hourly worker. Notice what I did do was I created a set of constants that I put, for lack of better words, I kind of put them into a module, I guess. There were my hourly worker constants, my piece worker constants, my salaried worker constants, and my commission worker constants. All right. Then we had the employee class, which again is the super class basically. All right. it's going to handle the employee number, the first name, and the last name. None of them can be empty. I didn't do a lot of validating on here. Assuming that none of them are empty, all right, we basically copy in the employee number, the first name, and the last name, and just default the gross pay to 0. In our calculate gross pay method, this is an abstract class, so we can't call it here. So as it says, the superclass cannot implement this method. Rather, the method must be implemented by the subclasses. Okay, so that is the employee class. Then we had the hourly worker class. Now, the reason before I was getting the error is in a bunch of these, after super, I forgot to put in the parentheses. That's why it was giving me errors. All right, so we're saying right here, when you create an hourly worker object, the parent, which is employee, will handle the employee number, the first name, and the last name. So this class has to handle these two. And you want to make sure the hours worked is greater than or equal to the minimum hours of 0 and is less than or equal to the maximum hours of 84. If not, you come out with you just give a message that says that. So that was a range check on hours worked. There's also a range check on hourly rate. So the hourly rate must be greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to $99.99. All right, assuming they are, we copy those in. We have already copied in the employee number, first name, and last name in our employee class right here. Okay. And then to calculate the gross pay, this is very reminiscent. In fact, it's the same thing that we have been doing. All right. I can even, if I need to, I could do it like that. All right, so if there's no overtime worked, it's just straight time, hours worked times hourly rate. Otherwise, again, you figure out the overtime, which is what we're doing in here. Then we return the gross pay. All right, so that's that one. Next, we had the piece worker. And the piece worker, again, employee number, first name, and last name are going to be handled by the parent. So the piece worker has to handle the number of pieces made and the price per piece. That's what we're doing here. We've got a range check on the number of pieces that says if the number of pieces is not greater than or equal to 0 and or is not less than or equal to 100. So if it's not within that range, we give an error message. Same thing with price per piece. That has to be between, I think it was a penny and $1. Okay. Assuming everything's okay, we copy in our number of pieces and our price per piece. And simply to figure out the gross pay, it's the number of pieces times the price per piece. That's it for that one. Next, we have the salaried worker, which is probably the easiest because, again, the parent will handle the employee number, first name, and last name, so we only have to handle the salary. We want to make sure that the salary is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 10,000. If it's not, we print out an error. Assuming everything is okay, we set the salary, and then basically for our gross pay, it's just equal to the salary, and we return that. Finally, then, for the commission worker, in fact, let's go back just a second. Let's bring in hourly worker here. And I want to bring in salaried worker because we are doing, let's put a comment in here. So this is, no, that's not what I want. I want salaried worker. So this is a range check on salary. Okay, so now that's okay. For the commission worker, we need to do a range check on the sales and a range check on the commission rate. Again, in here, The parent will be handling the employee number, first name, and last name, so we're responsible for sales and commission work. Sales has to be greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 10,000, or we print out an error. Commission rate has to be greater than or equal to 1% or less than or equal to 25%, or we print out an error. Assuming all is okay, again, we bring in the sales and the commission rate. The gross pay is just the sales times the commission rate, and we return that. All right. Finally, for our payroll, that's right here. All right, I guess I probably don't need this because that's still grayed out, but I'll leave it there. It's not hurting anything. So what are we doing here? Right here, we will initialize the final gross pay counters to 0.00, or initialize each final gross pay counter to 0. All right, then we process it. So this is basically this will calculate the gross pay. All right, this will increment the appropriate total counter with the just calculated gross pay. So if they're hourly, we add it to the hourly counter. If they're piece worker, we add it to the piece worker counter. If they're salaried, we add it to the salaried counter. If they're commission, we add it to the commission counter. I also added in here, I didn't have this in my original, but I added this. For the display totals, I had this, but I added a total payroll where I just add all of them up. So this will print out the total hourly, total piece worker, total salaried worker, total commission worker. Then we'll add those 4 up and print out a final total at the end. Again, let's save this. Go back to here. Let's see. And let's run it. I'm going to just have you be able to see it. All right, so that's cleared. All right, so let's run main. And there we are. So there's our total hourly, $10,238. Our total piece worker, which is the smallest, $194.80. Our total salaried worker, $25,404, and our total commission workers, $97,653.04. Adding all that up, we get a grand total of $133,489.84. That is it for this program. So what I'm going to do, I don't know where I put this one, so let me check. So under Python, OOP. That's where I want the OOP from scratch. All right. I don't think I need these test ones in here anymore, but just in case, I am going to take them and move them over to here. So right now, I don't know what test has got in it. Doesn't want me to do that, so probably is something that's open over here. That's okay. What I'm going to do next is what's shown on the screen right now. I have not written this yet, so I'm going to write this probably tomorrow and try to put this out onto the system as soon as possible. I want to create a Python banking system program from scratch. Probably, as it says, I'll have the following classes. I'll have a bank account class, which will be the super class. So each account will have to have the name. I'm just going to have a first name and a last name, assuming one person has the account. An account number. Maybe that'll be even it. I don't know. All right. And then there'll be checking account, savings account, and Christmas club account. The checking account will have two underneath it, an interest-bearing checking account and a non-interest-bearing checking account. Same with savings and the Christmas club. I wonder if I can make that big enough. So let's see. So the Christmas club account, as it says, will just be a child of bank account. Anybody should be able to come in and check the balance on any of their accounts at any time. They should also be able to withdraw money from any account and deposit money. So deposit money into any account and withdraw money from any account. So that'll be what I'll do next. I hope to come back with that fairly soon. And I'll talk to you at that time. Thanks.